All right, it's Dawn Kennedy again, and we're going to talk about how to conduct market research. And the reason is, a lot of times people think market research is just for big corporations or they have to hold focus groups. Actually, it's essential for any business to stay relevant, competitive, and to know what's going on in your industry, the adjacent industries that affect your business, consumer trends if you sell to consumers, business trends if you sell to businesses, and it allows you to see industry shifts early on and then also uncover some growth opportunities that maybe your competitors missed. So we're going to be talking about how to do it for your small business in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. You have to spend a little time up front, but once you get your resources together, it's going to be really a wash and repeat thing. We do market research at Convoy Road Coffee Roasters about every 90 days, and I do consistent market research for my clients that I work with. And so this process works, and it's pretty simple. All right, step one, you need to identify your industry and your market and where you can get data on the trends that are going on. But then also I want you to identify adjacent markets and things that influence your industry that you might need to be aware of. A couple of examples, we do coffee. So we do watch the roasting trends and the shipping lanes and things that affect our business, but I also do follow the larger beverage trends because I want to know why people are doing, what they're drinking, how they're drinking, and what the trends are and the forecasts are for the future. So even though I don't have a coffee shop and I'm not back there making lattes, I want to understand what people are looking for and where the trends are going. There is a lot of available, industry magazines, websites, and Statista, if you're not familiar with them, has some pretty good insights on consumer and industry trends. Some of their research, of course, is paid. Some of their research is publicly available. But if you don't know who your immediate adjacent markets are that could affect your ability to do business, we need to figure out who that is. Sometimes it's suppliers. Sometimes it's going to be manufacturers and people who are maybe no longer making a particular thing, or people are moving towards a different item. The best example of that kind of comes to the top of my head is if you are somebody that does home remodel, the things that people were looking for in the 90s are not the things that people are looking for in the 2025s. And so I would be watching what is going to be available to me so I know what to sell. So I am always looking at the adjacent markets. The biggest one for me, and I'll get into this more in consumer trends, was Nestle, because they make Coffee Mate. And all of the people who make the different coffee creamers and all of the different people who make the syrups. I want to know, what are people looking for? So I follow them and I look at them because they do influence what people buy from me. All right, step two. So you have your market research stuff, your resources for what's going on around you in your industry and the industries that touch what you do. The next one is going to be looking specifically at either the consumer trends or the business trends. And I don't just mean, in your industry. I mean, overall, I'm looking at what is going on. Now, consumer trends particularly caught my eye from Nestle back in 2023 when they started shifting their marketing from the experience of French vanilla creamer to you can make 20 coffee style house coffees at home for the price of a takeout. And I went, oh, that's interesting. So they went to value-based marketing, meaning that this company that has hundreds of millions of dollars more than I do for advertising, they went ahead and they started doing value-based marketing. And we started in response to do things like offer recipe books and multiple ways to use our product and making sure that people felt like they were getting a lot of value for their money and not just the experience of specialty coffee, which we had actually relied on for about the first 2 years we were in business. So when you are familiar with the broader trends of what's going on, then you can respond in a way that allows you to pivot your message, maybe we understand the buyer psychology. If you're doing business to business sales, you may have noticed that there was a time where people were taking a lot longer to make a buyer decision, or maybe they needed a little more information than they had in the past. And by you being able to focus on those broader trends of what's going on, you can go ahead and tweak what you are doing so that you meet people where they are. There is something to be said for being sensitive to what's going on in the market, not necessarily being ruled by it, but meeting people where they are. I'll give you another quick example. During fourth quarter 2024, a lot of money was spent on experiences rather than regular, I guess what we call tangible gifts. We started hosting workshops and doing experiences much more frequently. And we found that people were very interested in doing a 45-minute workshop and experiencing a full tasting and flights and some pairings and those things and demonstrations. And we found that there's been a big uptick in that recently, and people will travel a little bit further to get to do workshops and experiences. I'm also seeing that online. I've seen some painting classes recently, and I've seen an uptick in like handcrafted workshops and stuff, and people are spending more time on those experiences and those core memory making things than maybe they were in the past. That again, if you have that insight, will allow you to go ahead and pivot if you need to. And I can tell you that one of my employees even said that half of her Christmas gifts this past year were concert tickets. So it's not just anecdotal in my one employee, but it follows the broader trend. And we are seeing that. So if there's something in your business where you can maybe start following that trend or tweaking a little bit, that's an important piece of information you may be able to take and make into a great opportunity. All right, so the next one, part 3. So we've identified adjacent markets, we've identified your industry, we have some data on how to collect the trends and take a look at what's going on. We're also following either the broader consumer trends or following the broader business trends about how people are buying, what they're spending their money on, and what's most important. Now we're going to focus on your business. You're going to do the market research, if you will, inside your own company. And I always start this with a 3-minute brain dump. And I do this every quarter, and sometimes it repeats and sometimes it doesn't. But I always sit down and I ask the question, why do people give us money? Why do people give us money? And it can be so much more than because they're buying a product they like, they're buying a gift that they like, they're buying for someone else. I'm talking about it's the convenience, it's making it at home, whatever it is that you have in your company. Go as deep as you can for 3 minutes and write down all the reasons people give you money. It would probably amaze you to see that there are certain things that might be convenience. People will pay for that. It would be like, for example, a subscription box. It just magically shows up at your door. So people are also paying for the convenience. What are the reasons that people are paying you now for your products and services? And when you know why people give you money, then we can start to ask some basic market questions, market research questions, using industry stuff and your own business to look at the following areas. So I teach, and I have been following for the last 6 years, something that doesn't have a great name, but it's ADFP. It reminds me to look at the audience, the focus, the delivery, and the processes. And I have a broad set of questions that I'll start to ask about my audience. Things like, are people requesting something this quarter that they didn't last quarter? I'm looking to see whether or not I'm getting a younger or an older audience. Are people coming more because they want to experience the workshop, or are they still coming to just pick up some coffee? Why are people doing business with us? My audience. I am really taking a good look at the audience, what they're buying, and why they're buying it. I want to know my audience. My next one is my focus. I'm going to look and see, are some products doing better than other products are this quarter? Are some things maybe not as profitable? Then I'll look and see, have we been marketing that? Is this something that seems to be seasonal? Is this something that I have not necessarily pushed out recently? Maybe it wasn't one of our priorities and we didn't stay top of mind on it. What are the focuses? What are the things that are doing well? And then also, what do we want to do? As the business, are we staying aligned with our business vision? Is our focus very consistent with what is being put out in the world? And are we being responsive? So that's the next thing, is I'm going to look at our focus. Then the next thing is our delivery. Are people doing things differently this time? During the pandemic, a lot of people went online, and there were a lot of local businesses that didn't have websites and things like that. Maybe they weren't using social media the same way. And so there was a very, very fast shift to online menus for restaurants and some online ordering through like Facebook Messenger and stuff. What is the delivery of your products and services? Is there something in the industry that people are now expecting, like an app to be able to order ahead and pick it up? Are they expecting to do something like a DoorDash, or you getting into one of those types of delivery services? What is it in your industry, the way you deliver your products and services? Are people moving more to in-person events than they are to online? Yes, a lot of people are starting to want to go back into these kinds of in-person events that fell off favor for a while. So how are you delivering your products and services? And is there something that maybe you're not doing that is something expected? Or is there a way that you can add value by adding something new? Like, for example, maybe an online booking for an estimate for a home improvement project. Maybe giving people the option to just pick a time instead of playing phone tag is something in your market that would be well received, because a lot of other industries and things have gone to these pickup models. Even if you do something like a pickup at the grocery store, a lot of times they'll say pick up your pickup time, or they'll give you 3 or 4 times, and you pick the one, and then you just go in and you pick it up. So something to think about there. How are you delivering it? And finally, what are your processes? So when we want to look at last quarter, this quarter, next quarter, are there processes in your business that need to be refined, not only based on the market and consumers and industries, but also what's internally going on inside your business? Should you have something a different way? The best way to think about this as far as changing processes goes is we have started adding more information to our coffee, and it's a specific label that we do because now we're really focused on pairing. So we're doing a lot more with flavor profiles and pairing recommendations. And that process required us to go back and remake labels and do things like that. But that process has added an additional value based on what we've known about what we love to do, what we focus on, and what our market responds to. So that process had to be changed and implemented to meet our bigger goals of delivering this service in a different way. So I look every quarter at the processes and see what's serving and what's not. And sometimes, the processes might be adding something into the mix, or even taking out a step. But the process, how easy is it to do business with you? And do you make it so that your processes are all supporting what your market needs? The fourth step is to make sure that you are looking at these things from your perspective of your client or your customer, and not your necessary perception in the marketplace. There's a great video on YouTube by Andrew Bustamante. I think it's called A CIA Spy's Biggest Trick. And it was an excellent video because it talks about the power of stepping outside of your unique perception, your single focus, and stepping into perspective, especially if you can step into the shoes of the consumer, so that you can get a look from the other side. And it allows you to be more responsive, and it allows you not to prejudge any ideas or opportunities. So that's an important step, is to make sure that you're doing this with the right mindset of perception not being the lens, but perspective being how you're looking. And finally, number 5, creatively meeting your market where it is. This is where we start to take all of these, how do people give us money? We run it through this really quick framework, and then we start to prioritize and rack and stack what we're going to do in the next 90 days to fill gaps, to be able to respond to opportunities, to be more profitable, to have more clarity, and to stop taking a whack-a-mole approach to running our business. So I hope this quick primer on how to do market research is something that you can do. And if you need some support around this, just let me know. I teach a 4-hour intensive on strategic planning for small businesses, not complicated, completely customizable, and really repeatable. And I'll be teaching another one on March 20th. Take care.